welcome to our Year 6 virtual parent evening. It's so lovely to see you all this evening and welcome you to hear lots about Salford City Academy and why we believe we are a first-class education establishment for your son or daughter. So this evening I've got my head boy and head girl, and I've also got representatives from my senior leadership team who are going to talk to you about the academy and why it's a good choice to send your son or daughter. So for myself, I've now been principal here since April 2017, and I firmly believe that we're going from strength to strength. Over the last 3 years, we have been oversubscribed, and as a result of that, we've taken an extra class into each of our Year 7 year groups. Now, as a parent myself, making the right choice for your son or daughter for their secondary school is absolutely crucially important. And if you were asking me what I'm most proud of in the academy, I'm most proud of my staff and my students. I have some excellent students who are really, really committed. Not only do they excel in all their academic studies, but they also excel as individuals. They make fantastic progress in a range of skills, leadership skills, problem solving skills. They're very, very creative, and I'm extremely proud of all their achievements from when they start in Year 7 right the way until they leave into Year 11. And in fact, we have many students that keep in touch with us while they're at college and at university and share their success stories. So, high expectations. We do expect all our students to arrive at the academy fully equipped, nicely presented in their school uniform. And we are going to review our uniform because we do want to change it slightly for September, but I'll leave Mr. Leader to talk about uniform and expectations. Over the last 3 years, we have excellent attendance. We're way above national standards in terms of attendance, and that is fantastic. And that's down to having fantastic relationships with our parents, with our students, with the local authority. And we really do encourage our students to be here every single day. And the reason they want to come every day is because they know when they walk through the doors, they're looked after. They have a fantastic pastoral support and a year leader in Mrs. Jones. And they also have a form tutor that looks after them and makes sure they settle well into the academy. We also have really high standards of behaviour. I know when I arrived in the academy 4 years ago and I looked round and I was walking in and out of lessons, I just felt we could be tighter. No parent, and I include myself, would want their child to sit and learn in a lesson that was being disrupted. So we do have our disruption-free learning policy because every student deserves the right to learn in an environment that's positive, creative, allows them to excel, allows them to share opinions. And for me, that is absolutely crucial. So your son or daughter, if they come into Salford City Academy, will have that opportunity to learn and to be nurtured in an environment that is really, really positive. And finally from me, before I pass on to my head boy and head girl, is I want students to come into this academy and feel that they've got lots and lots of opportunities, not only in their academic studies, but also to excel in other activities. So to have the opportunity to have lots of trips and visits, to be able to go abroad, to be able to develop their leadership skills in a range of subjects like PE, science, English, to get involved in a range of activities like debating club, science club, badminton, swimming. And Mrs. Eaton will talk more about all those enrichment opportunities later. If you would like to ask me or any members of my leadership team or even the head boy or girl, because students will tell you how it is, then please post a question in the question and answer box on the computer, because we're here this evening to answer any questions that you may have about the academy, about the environment, about the culture, about the direction of travel that we are going into as a school. Then please post your questions and either myself or one of the team will answer them. And finally from me, because we would normally have this evening in school and you'd be able to walk around and have a tour, then please watch all the videos. We've posted lots of videos on our website, and the link has been shared with you. Please take the time to look at our website and also follow us on Twitter, because on there you'll get a flavour of what we are about, and also just gives you an idea of the activities and what we do in a day-to-day basis in the academy. If you would like a tour, then because obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, and in terms of Salford, we are under lockdown restrictions, I will open the school after students have left in the evening, and I will allow you to come and have a look at the school and ask questions and meet with a member of the senior leadership team, because I know it's important to get a feel about what the school's like. You wouldn't see it in a normal day because we actually have to have enhanced restrictions due to the coronavirus. But I'm more than happy that you come into the building, see what it's like, because I do feel that one of the biggest areas that we've improved in over the last 3 to 4 years has been our relationships with the community. They have gone from strength to strength, and we're continuing to improve our communication. I welcome students giving and parents and staff giving feedback about what we could do better. And so I do want to gain those positive relationships with our parents. So while we have been under lockdown, we've done lots of events like this, live Teams events, where we speak to our years 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 parents about what's happening in the academy, what you can expect from us in terms of teaching and learning, but also what you can expect from us in terms of looking after your child and making sure they're happy whilst they're here. Please listen carefully. If you have any questions, then please come back to me, and I hope you find this evening useful and very informative. Thank you. I'm going to pass over now to my head boy and head girl, who are going to give you some information from their point of view about what it's like to be a student here in the academy. So I'm going to pass over to them now. Thank you, George, and thank you, Favour.
Good evening. My name is George Turton, and I'm the head boy of Salford City Academy.
Good evening, my name is Favour, and I'm the head girl at Salford City Academy.
Well, my experience as a CA has been, I've enjoyed with all the teachers I've had and how they've helped me with when I've been struggling with the lessons or if I've not understood it. They've helped me with going on to Outlook, which is our email site, where they help us go into more detail with the questions they give us in lesson or the homework if you don't understand it. We do have a lot of cultural trips we've been on to. So like last year, or I think it was the year before, to 2018, they went to France, and we had a lot of activities to do there, and we performed in a lot of cultural trips because some of the people that actually went also took French, so they had the opportunity to learn more about the culture so that it could help them more with their GCSEs in the future. With the school day, how it runs, we've got period 1, which will last 70 minutes. Every lesson will last 70 minutes, and from year 7 till year 10, they're only in for 4 lessons a day, but the lunch times and breaks are split in different times, so people can get the break and lunch, but they're not mingling with other students from different year groups. So they're not. So say if someone in year 7 has coronavirus and they won't be able to mingle with somebody in year 8 or 9 or 10, so they don't have to speak to them or integrate with each other.
We have disruption-free learning. So in this school, we want everyone to learn in a safe environment and a disruption-free environment. So we've got IE in place. So if any student misbehaves, we can the teachers can send them into IE, and the environment stays safe and calm, and everyone will be able to go through the lessons and understand and ask questions. We also have structured lessons. So at the start of the lessons, we have starters so that we can start with, so that the teachers can set up and we can start warming up into the lesson. And then we are also introducing to our learning outcomes. So the teachers will tell us what we have to complete during the lesson and what our goals are for the end of the lesson. We also get a lot of help. So if we need any more help, we can talk to the teachers after school or at lunches and breaks, and we can also ask them questions through email, and they will always respond.
In year 10, you'll get to speak to the careers counsellor, who will guide you on a path which you'll be good at, or you prefer. To say, if, like, for me, I've wanted to join the army for a long time, so the careers counsellors helped me get into signing up for the army. So that was my experience.
We also have SLT for well-being, so if any of the students have any questions or something is bothering them, they can go to any of the staff in SLT. We also have mentors, which the students can go to if they are suffering from anything or they want to talk to anyone, they can talk to the mentors. And also we have zero tolerance to bullying in the school, so everyone is accepted and we are very diverse.
Can't think of anything.
So what I like about the school is that I've made great progress since year 7. So I've moved sets and I've learned to understand things more, and I've also made great friends and really just I've become more confident now, so I really appreciate it. We also got Aspire clubs after school, so we can go to clubs, and in any area that we're interested in. For example, if we like debating, we can go into an Aspire club and do some debates, and it can also provide us with cultural trips. We've got cultural trips like universities, where we can go to universities and see how the school day goes, and we can also go into the subjects that they do and just see if we like them or if we would like to change.
There's also spy clubs for people that enjoy sports, so we'll have football groups. We could bring extra groups in that other students could enjoy. It's like basketball, badminton, any sport really. We've got food clubs, we've got basically anything you can think of, we usually have them, or they can make time to do them. And then we have year 11 intervention at the end of the day, which is 60 minutes, not 70 like the other lessons, and for every single subject we do, but we're doing them on different days. So like Monday we've got maths, Tuesday we could have options, and then so on and so forth. But that's after all the school day, and then we'll do the intervention.
The intervention helps us to catch up with our work that we've missed, or we can use the time to ask teachers any questions of any subjects that we are struggling in, and then we can get a better understanding so that we can achieve higher in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Favour and George. And now I'm going to hand over. Mrs. Hazelden, do you want to say something?
Thank you.
Thank you. Very proud of my students, and well done for that. We're now going to pass to Mr. Rashid, who is my Vice Principal with responsibility for teaching and learning, who's going to share just some of the priorities that we have in the academy and how we work with our students and our staff to make sure we have an outstanding environment in the classroom. Thank you, Mr. Rashid.
Okay, good evening everyone. It's good to see so many people signed into the event. We can just see who's signed up. And just before I do start, I want to say thanks to George and Favour, because one thing that they perhaps didn't do was tell you how excellent they are. And I would be confident any child joining our academy in year 7 has got fantastic role models to look up to. That George and Favour, not only being academically excellent, they're part of a senior team who have different duties around the school, and we have a really high performing group of students who are wonderful. So they're part of that group, and I thought they did fabulously. Okay, now just in case you didn't catch the introduction at the start, I'm Mr. Rashid, and I'm the Vice Principal with responsibility for teaching and learning, and I'm going to spend a few minutes just talking you through the subjects that your child would study, what a typical day in the academy looks like, what a typical lesson looks like, how your child would work at home, and how we've got an excellent staff body and the training that we do with our staff to ensure that children come into the academy, thrive and perform excellently when they leave. Okay, so I'll start off by running you through the lessons that we have. So we have, obviously, like every school, we have our maths, English and science, and we have our humanities subjects. So that's where students will study geography, history, religious studies and citizenship. And we have our modern foreign languages department. Students will study Spanish, and we have a French GCSE class. We have an art department. We also have drama, PE, technology, where students will do food and design and technology, and IT. And all students will do those subjects in years 7 and 8 and 9, so at Key Stage 3. When students get to Key Stage 4, so that's years 9 and year 10, the students then pick their options. Like when you or I were at school, we'd pick our options, and then students can pick from those subjects, but also some additional subjects like business studies and childcare and photography and fine art. So they have a wider breadth of subjects to choose from, and then they will pick their options and they will study those. Now, in terms of the day, what a typical day looks like, at the moment, George and Favour talked to you about a 4-period day of 70-minute lessons. And that's because at the moment, our school day is slightly different just to accommodate the situation at the moment. And that's done to reduce sort of movement around the building and year groups coming into contact with one another. And I think if I speak for ourselves, we've excelled there in what we've done, because it's a very safe environment to come and learn at the moment. Now, under a normal circumstances, so the year previously or when lockdown restrictions end, we have a 5-period day. So students have lessons of an hour, and then that day is finished off with a day session. So day will happen at the end of the school day. So a student would come in and they would have registration in the morning. We provide breakfast and things. It's available if students want to buy breakfast or something on their way into school. And then they would go to see their form tutor in the morning, where they would be registered, and the form tutor would check things like their equipment and their well-being to check the setup for the day. And then students would go about the school and they would move about, going to different departments for their lessons. So if they had an English lesson, they would go to the English corridor, into their English classroom with their teacher and have a lesson, and then they would repeat that cycle for their lessons during the day. They'd have a break and a lunchtime in there, and we have a split lunchtime and break. So we would have Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 having different times, because we think that's better and it gives children a nice safe environment to enjoy their break. Then at the end of the day, students after their last lesson go back to their form tutor and they take part in activity we call DARE. So that means drop everything and read. And it's a reading initiative that's absolutely brilliant. So what students do in each year group, we've selected books, and we have an excellent literacy lead in school. And Mrs. Hawley has picked books for each year group to do, and they change each term. And the student reads the book with their tutor, but we do it properly here. So we don't just give a book to a student and expect them to read it. Their form tutor will read through the book with students. They all have their own personalised bookmark, and they follow line by line reading through the book. And it's excellent for developing students' vocabulary and also developing their inference skills, so that students are able to predict and write their own stories, and it helps them in all of their subjects. It improves their literacy, their ability to write extended pieces of writing, and also to unpick texts in different subjects, and it's just a fabulous programme. It's also supported by something we have called the Day, where students look at cultural events going on, or they look in the news and they study articles related to that. So we really have a good provision here for developing students' literacy in their reading and writing. Now, that's the kind of the subjects that students would do, and it is an overview of this school day. Now, in terms of an individual lesson, we have a structure that we keep to for our lesson, because we think it's important that students have consistency across the curriculum. So when they go to all of their subjects, and they know how they're going to learn, and it benefits them in the long run. And you can see by our results over previous years, it's successful because we've performed really well. Now, in terms of a typical lesson, a student would go into that lesson and they would have an activity to do, a starter, and that would be based on their previous lesson and also on their previous topic. So it's really clever, and it gets students to think back to what they did the last lesson and then the previous topic. So it keeps on getting them to check back on their learning and revise things as they go along and commit it to their memory. And examinations over the last few years have changed, and they're very, very much demanding that students have this breadth and depth knowledge, and this really helps them do that by revisiting the previous topics and keeping that knowledge up in their heads. So when students have done that, the answers are checked through with their teachers, and then they will start the learning for that lesson. So I'll use myself as a geography teacher, and that's my subject. So if I was talking to students and introducing volcanoes, I would then move on and give students the theory about volcanoes. I talk to them about how they erupt and where they're found, what would happen if they erupted. I would show them some diagrams. It's volcanoes, so I would show them some videos of volcanoes erupting to whet their appetite. And then I would cover the theory behind it. I would go into detail about how plates move and what that means for volcanoes and earthquakes. And then I would set students some activities. So students would undertake activities on the theory I've been through, and that structure would be repeated in all of their lessons. So then they would finish off, they would have had a check of their knowledge at the start, they would have had an introduction to a new topic, they would have practiced it with me, and then they would be set an independent task to do. So they might have to do a question where they're answering a question about how the volcano erupted, or they've got to develop a management plan to help areas that are at risk. And that would then be supported by homework activities, and right the way throughout that, linking into what they did in the morning in their tutor sessions, we have a big focus on keywords, and we would have keywords on the board in every lesson, and we would be testing students on their knowledge of these keywords, because developing a vocabulary in each subject is essential to doing well, and it's really strong here. So all of our homework then following on from that is set on Microsoft Teams. That's a new system that we introduced during lockdown, and we're just embedding it at the moment. And it's brilliant because as a parent, eventually you'll be able to get a weekly update on what activities your child has been set for their homework. You'll be able to keep a track on it, and you'll be able to see the marks they've got for those homeworks, and you'll be able to check and support them with it. And if you have the time, after this meeting, I'd recommend going onto our website. And if you go onto our website, you'll see some wonderful videos from the principal and for one of our assistant head teachers talking about the school and showing you that. But if you go to the student work area, you'll see how we set work for students. You'll see some really visual icons which explain how we set homework. But our homework is always to consolidate what we do in classes and revisit it and check that it's in students' understanding. Okay. In terms of other questions, I'm just looking down the chat and other things I can think of. Students are set when your child enters the school. They will come with their information and their data, if you like, from their primary schools, and we use that to group students and put them into groups. And then in their first period of time here, we use what we call baseline assessments to assess your students in a supportive way, and then we use that information to relook at the sets to make sure they're in the appropriate set for their learning, so the learning can be differentiated and individualized to them, so they get the best possible diet in their education. Mrs. Dawson's going to speak to you later. We have a wonderful SEND department where support for students is brilliant and really well tailored to their individual needs. Now, finally, for me, I think it's important to share this because it's a benefit I've seen as somebody who's relatively new to the school as well, and something that would really fill me with confidence if my child was looking at coming to Salford City Academy, and that is the quality of the teaching here at school. A student here benefits from a really highly motivated, high quality and experienced teaching staff, and that's one of the benefits of being as part of United Learning, a big trust, is that we have access to lots of training and things like that other schools don't. So our staff are really well trained in their subject areas, but also in pedagogy, which is the expertise of teaching. And we have training regularly for staff that we deliver in school and use from United Learning. We have a coaching team which is celebrated within the cluster of schools in Salford and within United Learning. So we have members of staff that work with others and train them and develop their craft, especially for new teachers. And we've got award-winning teams as well. Our science department, out of all of the schools in United Learning, and there's a substantial number of schools, won Science Team of the Year, and that's incredible that the best science team in the whole of the country is here at Salford City Academy. And equally, we have our head of teacher training. All our new teachers who join the school, they benefit from the best training in the country in United Learning, that she won the award for best trainee teacher lead. So new teachers joining our school are trained to a really high level, and that benefits all the students. We're involved in lots of projects to ensure that lessons are engaging and high quality. You know, for example, we just started a Beacon project, which is looking at the Holocaust and causing subjects like English and humanities to collaborate, and they're looking at extended writing and literacy for your child. Okay, and then finally on that, we have things that you probably, you know, if you work in a school, great. If you've not been in a school for a long time, we'll have things that might blow your mind. We have a swivel camera, so staff and teachers record themselves teaching and look back at themselves and how they can improve their practice, and everyone really engages with that, with the purpose of making our lessons brilliant and making students learning exceptional. Okay, so that's me done. I'm going to pass over to Mrs. Eaton in a moment. Just before I do, if there's any questions you have for me, if you just post them in the chat, I will reply to them. Okay, but if there isn't, I'll pass over to Mrs. Eaton.
Right, Miss Eaton, you're live.
Good evening, everybody. As said, I'm Mrs. Eaton and I'm responsible for Key Stage 3 curriculum and outcomes, and I'm also responsible for our character education at school, which I'll talk about shortly. So a lot of work goes into our Key Stage 3 curriculum. We want to ensure that it's well planned and sequenced, and that really goes right from transition from year 6 into year 7 to the transition from year 9 into GCSE. We have a strong emphasis on catch-up and support for those students who enter the academy, not quite making those national standards in reading and numeracy. So we have a number of literacy and reading programmes that students can get involved with right from the start of school, and they're really successful and we're really proud of how they're working. This year as well, we're able to offer some small group tuition, individual tuition to some students in year 7, 8 and 9. So again, that's something that's really unique to the school and we're really proud of. Mr. Rashford mentioned our DEAR programme, which really supports our curriculum at Key Stage 3 and our emphasis on reading in the curriculum, and to make sure that students have a love of reading as they go through school. We've worked with quite a few primary schools in the local area and primary school head teachers and teachers to look at our curriculum and how we best plan for students coming from year 6 into year 7. So we've worked with teachers looking at our maths curriculum and English curriculums and looking at what is taught in primary school and how we can build on that for year 7. And again, as Mr. Rashford said, being part of a really large MAT is really, really beneficial to our students. So we work with United Learning Advisors who are experts in their subjects, and they work with every single subject and leaders within our school to make sure the right parts of the curriculum are taught at the appropriate points and delivered in the very best ways. When your son or daughter starts with us when they start with us and we know that they're going to begin with us in year 7, that transition work will start from year 6, and myself or some of the other senior teams, as well as their head of year, will go into the primary schools and meet the students before they come. Usually, obviously this year has been quite a unique year, students will come to us first and they'll have a number of days in the academy before they actually begin in year 7. This year we managed to produce transition booklets for all of our year 7 that contained work, reading and key words that students could use to help prepare themselves for this first year of this first half term of school. And those were really, really successful, again with our year 7 students who brought them back in to show us when they came. So we'll be providing those again for year 6s next year. In terms of assessment at Key Stage 3, when year 7 start with us, we will make sure that we assess all their reading ages so that we know how to appropriately plan for those students in individual lessons. And we can also make sure that if needed, they are put on catch-up programmes. They will also do a test called the mid-years test, which looks at their natural aptitude for learning. And again, we use that to screen for anomalies in results, and we look at where students might require extra support or where there might be SEND needs. And we really use that data to help and prepare the best teaching and learning and curriculum for those students. As well as part of the subjects list that Mr. Rashid talked about, in our Key Stage 3 curriculum, we're really lucky to be able to offer PSE and citizenship as discrete subjects where students will learn about law and politics, and we cover the RSE curriculum in great depth, which we're really lucky at Salford City Academy is taught by specialists. So I think one of the questions that was asked on the chat before was about how does the school teach students not to bully and about tolerance and respect. That's all threaded through our REACT values, which is how we expect students to behave every single day, and we talk to them about those through assemblies and through their everyday behaviour, but they're also taught through discrete and specific lessons about what it means to be a good friend and what it means to have mutual respect with others, and about diversity in the curriculum and cultural awareness and integration and community cohesion. So all these themes are spread right through our curriculum. We also spend a lot of emphasis talking about British values through our religious education and citizenship curriculum, and they're embedded into all of our topics. So a strong emphasis on values is part of our ethos. I've seen a few questions asked about how many classes are in each year group. At the moment, because our year groups are very full, we have around 7 classes with 30 students each. We have a few smaller classes in some of our lower sets where they need a little bit more support. All our students in year 9 will take their options towards the end of the year, and they're well supported to understand the pathways that are available to them once they leave and what subjects would be most appropriate to them. They will receive dedicated days where they learn about careers and they learn about these pathways and they learn about each of the subjects that they're taking at GCSEs, so that they're guided to make the right choice. So we actually call our option process a guided options process, so that the students are really well supported. And I'm just going to move on quickly to talk about our character education, because that's another really important area that I oversee. And we're really, really proud of our character education at the Academy. We have a vision that students should be provided opportunities that inspire them, excite them and prepare them for adult life. And everything that we do is really based around that. And our character education is underpinned by our Salford City Academy Charter. And the charter involves that we have made pledges to our students that we will stick to throughout their life as a Salford City Academy student, making sure that they have opportunities in leadership, in careers, to become tolerant and respectful citizens, to have cultural experiences. And we expect in return that students make pledges to us, and they work through those pledges, whether it be in attendance, behaviour and attitude, to receive awards, and we call those our charter awards. So they're actually able to build up to their bronze, silver, gold and platinum charter awards, and those link to the rewards that they get at the end of each term. Probably one of the most sort of, I say, famous aspects of our character education, because it has become quite well known across Salford and across other schools, is that we have an Aspire programme. And Aspire really is all the extracurricular activities that students do, whether it be after school or that enrich the curriculum. So that can include things like cultural trips and visits and university visits on our careers programme, as well as what we do during tutor time. So after school, we have around 30 different clubs on offer. So even at the moment, where obviously it's quite a challenging time for schools, I know many schools haven't been able to offer much extracurricular activities, we decided that it's part of something, it's part of a priority for us that we continue with our Aspire clubs. So even in this unusual times, we're still able to offer a range of different Aspire clubs for our students in year 7, and we're really, really pleased that so many who started with us this year are already attending regularly. And around 75% of our Key Stage 3 students do attend our Aspire clubs after school. Just to give you a snapshot, we have students that take part in swimming, there's drama clubs, there's a science club. Now the science club does lots of different projects. We had some students renovating our pond area, to students who do experiments, looking at doing even things from chemical explosions to engineering projects. We have a Lego club that go out to do competitions at universities. We even have an Italian and French club, because those are not current subjects that we offer as languages, but we have them as Aspire clubs after school, as well as things like dance and music that you would expect in most schools. So we are really, really proud of our provision that we have here. And what is quite unique about our Aspire programme is that all our students will take part in an Aspire survey that takes place twice a year. And this is part of our commitment to each individual's personal development. So our Aspire programme looks at the personal aspirations and goals of the students, and they will take the survey, and then we get the data in and we map our provision from what the students tell us. So again, I've seen a question asking, do you teach the students about finances? Well, yes, we do, and that was something that came up from the Aspire survey last year. Our students told us that in year 9 they really would like to have some more information about finances and what life will be like after school. So we build that into the curriculum, and this year our year 10s are actually doing some work on that, and our Enrichment Day, they're doing some work with Barclays Bank. So this allows us to really respond to what the students say to us in terms of what they're interested in. Our Aspire survey as well allows us to have one-to-one individual conversations with these students. So that might be with a year leader, that might be with our careers lead, or it might be with a senior member of the leadership team. So it's a really personalised programme. We had a number of students last year in our year 9 cohort, as a result of the Aspire programme, actually were issued with a youth worker each who supported them throughout last year, and they all started attending a bike maintenance club outside of school. So we work with our local authority and many partnerships to make sure our Aspire provision is as thorough as it possibly could be and extends beyond the academy. Another thing that's very strong at the academy is our careers provision. We have very, very few students who go on to become NEETs. Every child in the academy has been, that was in our year 11 cohort last year, has been given a place at college or an apprenticeship, and we're really proud of that. And compared to national averages and Salford averages for our Gatsby benchmarks, which is how schools are measured on for their careers provision, Salford City Academy is doing brilliantly, and we're well above what other schools and what other Salford schools are offering. So again, we're really proud. Something quite unique in our Aspire programme is that our Enrichment Days run 3 times a year. So Enrichment Days are days that are off timetable days, where we collapse the timetable and we offer a unique provision to students. So we work again with outside agencies and companies to make sure that students have lots and lots of unique opportunities. That can be from building companies that look at how to build railways and town planning. So some students last year were creating their own railways and learning how to plan those effectively, to university visits, workshops on first aid. Salford Royal came in and delivered some first aid training with our students. So once again, it's a really, really thorough provision. And just to finish on, we have lots of cultural trips and visits, as mentioned from our students. We have a parish trip every single year. As part of our pledges, we take students to the theatre. They have author visits. They go on residentials. They go to places like Manchester City, Manchester United football ground, as well as having a wide variety of leadership roles that the students can get involved in. So there really is a lot on offer at the academy, and if your son or daughter and yourselves do choose to send them here, then we can promise you that there's so much for them to get involved with, that we know that they will have a really, really fantastic time with us. And as I say, we're really, really proud of our commitment to all these different elements of our curriculum. So I will hand over now to Mrs. Dawson.
Okay, Mrs. Dawson, you can go.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Laura Dawson. I'm the Special Educational Needs Coordinator at the Academy. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's lovely to talk to you all. I'm actually going into my 14th year of working at the Academy, and really the school and the community have got a very special place in my heart, and that's why it's particularly important for me to be here tonight to talk to you about the transition for your children and what we can offer for those with special educational needs. I just wanted to share with you some of the things that the Academy can offer through that supported programme. And I suppose really tonight is the first step towards that. And I know that some of you might be watching and thinking that you've got very individual, confidential questions which you'd like to ask about your children. And that's absolutely fine. I'd be delighted to talk to you in more detail. I will make sure that I'm available for the question and answer session. But I'm hoping that perhaps, Miss Sparker, you might be able to post my email address in the chat for parents. And if you would like to contact me individually, I would be happy to give you a call or to answer any questions that way. So what does this supported transition look like? As I've mentioned, it might begin with individual questions from yourself, but it also begins with conversations with the primary schools. Our transition really begins from January, when we have virtual meetings with all of our feeder primary schools. And we have those where we share information and we find out about what students' additional needs may be, and we make sure that we can offer the correct support for students coming across to us. And that might look like additional visits for those who are particularly anxious, or for those that perhaps struggle a little bit with their behaviour. Those additional visits that take place are called our Stepping Stones programme, and they're hosted by myself and our behaviour manager, Mr. Ritchie, and we really looking at offering a very personalised provision for students based on what they need and the very highest level of support that we can offer. When students do arrive with us in the academy, any student that is placed on the Special Educational Needs Register will be allocated a key worker, and our key workers are a team of experienced teaching assistants. There's 8 of them in total, with a variety of specialisms, including autistic spectrum and communication needs, those that specialise in disability sport, mental health awareness, speech, language and communication needs. And we have actually got 5 members of our team who are LCLAN trained and can offer those very specific interventions if your child needs that support. We do also have 2 higher level teaching assistants who offer literacy and numeracy interventions outside of the normal curriculum. And we're pleased to offer this year as well direct instruction for both reading and maths. And this is a targeted small group intervention to rapidly close the gap for students who might be working below their chronological age in reading or numeracy. In addition to those interventions, we do also screen for dyslexia and dyscalculia, and if necessary, we can make referrals through to Salford Learning Support Service so that we can get more detailed assessment and official diagnoses if we need to. As well as those interventions, we do also have a variety of interventions for students with social, emotional and mental health needs, and those include anxiety management workshops, anger management workshops, and we have members of our team who are mental health first aid trained, and we also engage with Salford Educational Psychology Service in their Emotionally Friendly Schools programme. For students that require additional support, we do liaise with external professionals as well. So we work closely with CAMS, the Educational Psychology Service, Speech and Language, as well as any of the paediatric teams if necessary with the occupational therapist, physiotherapists, and any other individuals that might be involved in that care. If your child has already got an education and healthcare plan, then we would be working closely with you to make sure that those objectives and outcomes were met. Ultimately, that really is at the very heart of what we do, and our vision at the Academy is that we're highly aspirational for all of our learners with special educational needs. We want to ensure that they can access a broad and balanced curriculum that's fully supported, so that they leave and go on to post-16 choices to have a very successful and happy future. So thank you very much for listening to me tonight. As I said, if there are any individual questions, I would be delighted to answer those in more detail after. Thank you very much. And I'm handing over now to our Vice Principal, Mr. Leader.
Live. You need to unmute yourself, Mr. Leader.
Always do that. Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Leader. Thank you for joining us. So I'm just going to run through a couple of things, my responsibilities within the academy. I've been here nearly 3 years, and we've seen a massive change at the academy over them 3 years. A couple of things in particular, we have, as Ms. Hazelden mentioned, we have introduced disruption-free learning, raising our standards with behaviour and expectations of students, and that's disruption-free learning works on very simple process that teachers can teach, that the students can learn, and the students will make progress. And that has seen our progress score, Progress 8 score over the last few years absolutely go through the ceiling. And we're one of the best schools in Salford for our Progress 8. That students do learn when they're here and they do make progress. So that's really, really important. That disruption-free learning allows for that to happen. As mentioned by the students, our head boy and head girl, how they appreciate being in a lesson where the teacher can teach and the students can learn. We don't make any excuses for that warm, strict approach that we have. It is important that we have that, and it allows for the students to learn, but also it allows for us to, when I talk about warm, get to the bottom of nitty-gritty of things with students so that we can identify, like Ms. Dawson has been talking about, areas that they need, any issues at home, any social and emotional concerns that we have. We have a fantastic inclusion package at the school. We have a designated safeguarding lead that is always around to deal with any safeguarding issues and talk to students about any safeguarding concerns, whether they're upset, worried, anxious, anything like that. We have a school counsellor on site that is available to talk to students, working with a number of students at the moment, given this difficult period that we've been through and are still going through. We've got an excellent student counsellor who's working with them students to increase their and reduce their anxiety and increase their support and help to get them back into school learning and working. We have a behaviour manager that works with students and runs a number of interventions to re-engage students back into the classroom and helping them, supporting them, making sure their behaviour is suitable for the classroom and that they can make progress and work hard and achieve excellent results at the end of it. We also have excellent a set of year leaders, inclusion leaders as we call them. We have one for each year group. And that's really important that they're available to support students, every student in their year group, and then students can go and speak to their year leader, inclusion leader, anytime to pick up any incidents, anything that's happened, something that's happened outside of school, something that's happened in a lesson, something that's happened at social time. The inclusion leaders are non-teaching, so they're available all the time. They will go in and out of lessons, checking that students are okay, supporting them with anything they need, working with them with homework, anything. And also that would be a point of call for you as parents if you're worried about anything in school. We quite happily give out email addresses for our inclusion leaders, and you can contact them and speak to them over email, or you can ring school and they will ring you back. We're more than happy to work, and we want that good communication. That's one of the key parts. Is I think over lockdown is we have done a lot to improve our communication with parents. And one of the things that's come through in our recent parent survey is the communication during lockdown from us was absolutely fantastic. We were out doing home visits. We were on the phone to our vulnerable students 3 times a week, checking that they were okay. We're on the phone to parents that are having any troubles with students not working or logging on issues, everything. We're available all the time, and we try to support the parents and students as much as we can throughout the year at any time during that year. Ms. Hazelden mentioned about attendance. Our attendance we take attendance is so important at the academy. It's dead simple. If you're not in, you're not learning. And the more days you miss, the more that anxiety will increase. So we need to be in school. Every student needs to be in school every day. And that's why over the last 2 years, we've increased our attendance to above national average, 95.5%. One of the best attendance is in the local authority, and now during these difficult times we're still getting students attending. We are still above national average now. It was only yesterday that we had attendance of 95.4%, which is absolutely amazing, and we continue to improve and strive to improve that and make sure that every student student is in lesson, and then supporting parents and families that are having difficult times with attendance. We've got a fantastic attendance manager that is on the phone and will do home visits and support families. We do a lot of work with external agencies. We work with external agencies on a regular basis. We've got very good links with the local authority to our early help coordinator, and we will direct parents and families to that support with early help, whether that be around financial problems, whether that be around problems in the community, whether that be around problems with behaviour for students at home. We will support every family as much as we can to get them the help and support for their children that they need, and therefore then in school the students will make progress and they'll leave school with some fantastic results. So that's all I wanted to really talk about, and just say that, you know, when you come to the academy, you are coming to one of the best academies in the school, in the local authority, and it's so important that you attend school, that your child gets the opportunity to make progress in lesson, and knowing the fact that they will have an amazing amount of support around them. Okay, and I think I'm going to hand back, unless there's any questions, Miss Barker, that you want me to address.
The only one I haven't answered is about the catchment area. Higher Earlham, is that in our catchment area?
I think Miss Hazelden
Hazelden's going to answer that. Yeah. Okay.
I think there was one around uniform, and Miss Hazelden mentioned about uniform before. We are currently in the process of moving to a different supplier. That supplier should be up and running around January. It'll all be online based, and you'll be able to order it and it'll be delivered to you. There are a couple of items that are changing. What we do is we do release a September Ready booklet that will be out to you in July, that gives you all the breakdown of all the information that you will need for starting. Like I say, we expect all students to arrive with a bag. We expect all students to have all the right equipment. That's 2 black pens, 2 red pens, pencil case, rubber, ruler, pencil, all that equipment ready, again, so it doesn't impact on any learning. But the uniform, there is a couple of changes to that we are making. Once we have made that information will be shared, and hopefully be shared in the fantastic opportunities at transition events that we will run towards the end of the year. But once that's up and running and live, we will then share that information with parents. What we did set up this year to support with transition, and it is still set up now. We do have a transition email address that I'll get Miss Barker to post into the chat for you, that you can email any concerns around transition, any information you want. Miss Jones, the inclusion leader for year 7, will be able to pick that up along with myself and my PA. So we'll pick that up and try and answer as many of them questions that you have around that, and we will start to feed out information to you around transition and what we offer and how you can apply to school, etc., etc. But I'll hand you back now to Miss Hazelden to finish up.
Okay, thank you to all the team, and thank you for joining us. There's just a couple of things that I'd like to share with you. So I noticed there was a question about Progress 8. I think as a parent, it's really important to go on to the schools that you are interested in sending your son and daughter to have a look at their progress scores, because that gives you an indication of how much students make progress over the 5 years. Now, Salford City Academy, I know in the community, has been around a long time. One of the things I will say is that the last year, well, in 2019, our progress scores put us in the top 3 schools in Salford. And that's because, as Mr. Rashid has explained, we take the quality of learning and the quality of teaching really seriously. And that's one thing that we have worked really, really hard on, as well as our high expectations of pupil behaviour. So please have a look at that, and we continue to improve in terms of progress scores. We know that this year students didn't have exams, but once again, in terms of the grades that we submitted, because we had evidence that students had worked really hard over those 5 years, again, the progress scores in the school continue to improve. So please look at that, because we are a really improved school. And just on that, because of that, and because of lots of other improvements, last year, when we were asked to increase our PAN for that 1 year, we had, by the summer, we had a waiting list to get into the school. And we also had to go through, a lot of parents had to appeal to get a place. Now, I spent a lot of the 6 weeks on the phone talking to parents who hadn't got a place because they'd only applied for one school and hadn't put Salford City down, either first or second choice. Now, every head teacher will tell you that, but I just want to make something really clear. Once we get to our allocated numbers, parents and students then have to go on a waiting list. If you haven't applied to that school, or you put us low on the choices, we have to allocate the students. We then have to rag rate the students, and we can only take a student if a place then becomes available. So if I take present year 7, for example, we had lots of appeals, and because we're full and we'd already taken bulge classes, some of those appeals were then, you know, we couldn't accept them, and so that created a lot of anxiety. So if there's one thing I say, parents, please, 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 can you make sure that you do your research, and then you really think about the places that you offer, because it's really hard for me then in the summer holidays when parents are coming to me saying, please, 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 can you give them a place? And we did find that a lot of students had to then go outside of Eccles in order to be allocated a school choice. Speak to other parents that are sending their child here, especially in year 7s, ask them how it's going. It's been a very different year this year, but get opinions from them. They will tell you, some of the parents that I've spoken to a lot in the 6 weeks will tell you just how hard it was to get a place again. And just on the higher Earlham question, we have to take preference for students living in the M30 postcode. You can, if you put us first choice, then there may be a chance that you'll get a place. But I would say that Earlham Academy is our sister school. They're also a United Learning School, and they are, you know, again, we work closely with them. So they are a good school and they're improving. So please, you know, don't rule them out. Have a look at Earlham as well. We've only taken this year 2 students from Earlham. There was 4, because another 2 had siblings in the school that already came here. So just on that, I can't guarantee that you would be allocated a place here if you live in the Earlham postcode. Okay. Right, Miss Barker, any other questions, please, just in case there are 1 or 2 that we've not been able to answer.
There's a question about our school lunches and what are they like? What do we have on offer?
Okay. We're going to, we offer at the minute, again, because we're going for, hopefully in September we'll have doubled our size of dining, because again, because we're over, you know, subscribed, we've had to increase our dining provision. So we have put an application in to do a rebuild in that area. But in terms of what we offer hot lunches, free school meals. Students are entitled to a hot lunch or a sandwich lunch. We have a range, or we have salads, we have hot meals, curries, jacket potatoes, pasta, healthy options, you name it, we offer it. Fantastic array of cakes, and also fresh fruit. Apples are free every day. We also offer a free breakfast to students, because we want to encourage students to have a hot breakfast. So we do offer that to all year 7 students, free of charge, toast and cereal. And then, yeah, so, you know, very, very happy with the quality of food. It's something I take quite personally, and we're always reviewing it and in trying to improve what we offer for our students.
Another question, how do I look around the academy in person?
Okay, so we will offer tours. in an afternoon. So if you are interested in having a tour of the academy and speaking to us, you will have to wear a face mask. We will have to socially distance. But if you email SCA inquiries at Salford City Academy, we'll put the link and we'll email the link to you, and you ask for a tour, then we will get back to you before the 31st, and we will offer that, and you'll meet a member of the SLT and we'll take you around and talk more, and we can answer then. For example, I know that a lot of parents who want specific SEND information, that's a great opportunity to get that one-to-one questions and support that you need in deciding on the school for your son or daughter. Okay.
Okay, I think you've already answered this, but the deadline that they need to apply to our academy for?
The 31st of October.
And how many applications do we have already?
Okay, right, so we have at the minute a pan of 150, and we've already had 172 applications. So I can imagine that will go up rapidly in the next couple of weeks. So please make those decisions. I know that a lot of schools may be oversubscribed, but again, we were last year and the year before, so please make that decision, and please don't hand an application in late, because once it's late, then it goes, when your RAG rating, it has to go lower down in preference. So please make sure that you hand that application in on time.
And how would the Year 7 first day be structured?
Okay, so what we do on the first day is obviously many Year 7s are quite nervous about coming into the academy, so we always make sure that we do quite a lot of transition days before they arrive. There'll be members of SLT on the gate. We bring all our students together into a Year 7 assembly, and then they're in school usually on their first day only with Year 11. So they have a day where they can walk. They spend quite a lot of the morning with the tutor who will walk them around the academy. They get their fingerprints taken for food. We give them little activities to get to know each other. And that's how they spend their first day. Obviously, then what we did this year is at the end of the second day, we had a live Teams meeting, a bit similar to this, where again, we asked Year 7 parents, did they have any questions about their son or daughter or joining the academy? So again, we know that it's an exciting time, but also sometimes parents are more worried about their child than their child themselves. I have to say there are 180 Year 7s. They're an absolute delight. They've made a fantastic start to the academy. I met them all. We were talking this morning with them all. There were so many eager to tell me that they'd not had a day off. I set them a little bit of a challenge to say if they could manage to go the whole year, there'll be lots of treats and rewards. So yeah, they've made a fantastic start. Please don't worry about the first day in the academy. They will be absolutely fine. We look after them.
Okay, and final question. Oh, sorry, there's a couple more. We're currently living in the M50 postcode. What are the chances of getting a slot in your school?
I don't know where M50 is.
Whoever's posted that question, could you just let me know where M50 is? Another question.
M40 is Earlham, and we're M30, M44 is Earlham. We do have students that come ex-district. I'm being honest, you probably have to put Salford first choice if you want a place then, because if we get full, then we have to use our admissions policy, and we would always put at the top of the waiting list those that either have got siblings in the school or who live closest to the school. So for example, in the summer we had a waiting list of 40, and when you rag it, it was the students that live closest to us that went to number 1. So, you know, I just need to be honest about that, really. That's how it's defined. We do have students coming outside the district. The only thing I would check about that, are you happy about the travel arrangements?
It's near Salford Quays, miss.
Salford Quays, so that's more Oasis, isn't it?
Yeah.
You have to think about the travel arrangements and think about dark nights and dark mornings, and if you're happy with that. But I just think you need to probably have a think about that, if that's the right thing for your son or daughter.
Okay. Yeah. Final mention. Do children stay in the same form groups each year?
No. And they don't stay in the same class because, as Mrs. Eaton explained, sometimes if we want to do a reading intervention form, then if your child needs extra support for reading, we'll put them in the reading intervention. If your child is gifted and talented and we need to stretch them to get those higher levels in Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4, they might go into a high prior retaining form. It might be that they need some extra support in maths at a particular stage in their school life, so we've put them in a maths form. Sometimes we do mix them, so at the minute in Year 7 they've all joined and they're in a mixture of forms, but we will start then to be more bespoke in the forms that we place students in. Our students are used to moving forms and moving classes. We would always communicate that with parents and the reasons why, and we communicate it with the students because they need to know. I'm very, very big on communicating with students. Nothing should ever come as a surprise to a student, and we're always getting feedback from our students, so they don't always stay in the same form, but there's always a good reason why we do move students' forms or classes.
Okay, another one. If the Salford City Academy is second but the first choice is unlikely, is there still a chance to get in?
There's always, yeah, there is still a chance. I just think that what's happened, I know that obviously we have St Pat's, let's just talk about this, we have St Pat's down the road, that's always oversubscribed. I think what happened, there was one parent last year who thought, well, I'm only going to put St Pat's down because it's either St Pat's or nothing, didn't get a place, came to Salford to think, well, okay, I'll just get allocated Salford City, but that wasn't the case because we were then full and we had a waiting list. And so, if you know, again, I can't guarantee it, but what I'm saying is that obviously we allocate first choices and then we'll look at second choices, and then if we're full, we then it goes to appeal.
Okay. There's a few other questions, Miss, but I think if parents went to the website and looked at the treasure hunt and feedback form, that would be a really good way to finish.
Yeah, I think so. So please, obviously, I know how important this decision is. This is, you know, such a huge decision. You've got to think about the culture and climate in a school as well as the academic. Where's the best place for your son or daughter to excel? Okay. The one thing I will say about us is that we absolutely know all our students. You know, we get to know them, and I personally take it really, really important that we provide a top quality education for your son or daughter. Please look on our website. Please look at all the information and the videos. There's lots of posts. Look on our Twitter. Please do your research. I can't emphasize that enough. There is a treasure hunt on there to complete. And again, if you submit that, then there's a prize draw for students who engage in that treasure hunt. And please complete the feedback form, because if you complete that and send it in, we'll also do a lucky draw on that. We do take feedback very seriously. If there's anything we could improve, please let us know. If we didn't include information that you wanted to know, let us know about that. And the iPad draw for all those who've signed in and watched us tonight, that'll be done tomorrow, and we will contact you if you're the lucky person to win the iPad. Okay, thank you very much. Hope you found it useful. Please leave us a message, and happy researching, and I hope you get the school that's right for your son and daughter. Thank you very much. Good evening. Bye bye.